Our private wealth managers learn about you first. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com.
The White House has sought to dial back rising tensions with China.
The following is a paid program. The opinions and views expressed do not reflect those of Bloomberg LP, its affiliates, or its employees.
Hi, I'm Jane King, and this is New to the Street, in person back here at the NASDAQ market site in New York City. This show is all about public, private blockchain companies, the CEOs, the founders, and the innovators, bringing you lots of opportunities to consider. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Vince Molinari, and welcome to FinTech TV's The Digital Asset Report. This is a special episode in collaboration with New to the Street, and I'd like to welcome Michael Kong. Michael is the CEO of Fantom Foundation. Welcome, Michael.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, welcome to the iconic New York Stock Exchange. Special episode today in collaboration with New to the Street. A great day for us here. I'd love you to tell us a little bit about what's going on, maybe a little background on the Fantom Foundation and what you've been up to.
Sure, yeah. So my name is Michael Kong. I'm the CEO of the Fantom Foundation. And what we do is we work on our own ecosystem called the Fantom ecosystem. It's its own, like, what we call like layer one blockchain. So it's its own chain. It runs its own unique consensus engine that is able to process transactions, multiple transactions simultaneously, as opposed to, like, say, one transaction at a time or one block at a time, unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum. And that's connected to the smart contract engine that allows people to write all sorts of different applications. So when you think about the use cases of smart contracts, you think about decentralized finance, you think about like NFTs, you can do that same sort of activity on Fantom, but at like a much lower cost while still maintaining security than, say, an alternative platform like Ethereum.
So as I understand it, big differentiator, solving for pain points of speed, multiple transactions, but really, I think one of the big things I hear all the time is the greater reduction in cost to execute in using your system.
Yeah, that's right, because what's unique about our technology, and what we spent about 1.5 years developing, and we launched the mainnet on December 2019. So it's been running really, really well for the past 2.5 years. Is we've been able to create our own consensus engine that allows you to process these transactions simultaneously. It's called asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerance. So that's a mouthful.
You're gonna have to give that to me a few more times before I could ever say that. But yeah, give it to me one more time.
Yeah, so it's called, the technical term is called asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerance, right? Essentially, it allows you to process transactions asynchronously, meaning that the network can process multiple blocks or transactions at the same time. And so when you're processing, say, like 5 blocks at the same time or 10 blocks at the same time, you're processing more transactions than if you're processing 1 block at the same time. So for example, like with Ethereum, you're processing, say, like 1 block every like 13 seconds or so. With our network, you're processing blocks on average about 1 second, right? And that's because you can process these blocks simultaneously. So because you have a higher network throughput, it means that you can process more transactions per second, which means that you can lower the cost on average per transaction.
Michael, thank you for joining us for this special episode with FinTech TV and New to the Street, and look forward to having you back again soon.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate the opportunity again. Yeah.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Want to get linked to a really good investment? Everyone knows you have to be at the right place at the right time. So here's the deal. Link2 is that place. And when you sign up, you'll join an awesome community of investors with access to the world's leading private companies way before they go mainstream. Are you ready to get linked to? Our unicorns are waiting. Link2. Private investing made simple.
MIKRA is a biological wellness and consumer wellness company. And with me is the CEO, Faraz Jamal, to talk about MIKRA. And then the parent company is Lifest, right? So we'll explain that corporate relationship a little bit, but let's start with MIKRA. And I mean, it was really interesting to read about it because you're working with wellness on the cellular level.
Yep.
So explain what you're doing.
Yeah, so I always say that MIKRA is a biological sciences company first and a consumer wellness company second. And how I explain that is essentially we work with the most bioactive compounds humanly possible, and then we pair it with our direct-to-cell technology, so we ensure that those bioactive compounds actually make it directly into your bloodstream and absorbed by your body.
Okay, so is this a pill that you take? Or?
No, we call it actually a nutraceutical gel.
Okay, so how does it work?
Yeah, so once you actually ingest what we call self, it goes through your body and it's absorbed in your jejunum, just slightly lower in your small intestine, directly by having your cells basically signaled and then allowing them to be absorbed directly.
So how do I absorb it? Do I drink it like a powder or what?
No, it's actually more like, think of it more as like a nut butter. So you just put it into your spoon or into your smoothie and just drink it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now explain the science behind it. Like, what does it do? How does it help with wellness?
Yeah, so we feel that that health actually starts at a cellular level. So at the most microscopic level, that's where MIKRA's products are meant to actually impact your health. So I always describe your health as a still pond. And if you throw in like a really, really large rock, you start to see these reverberations just work out from where the rock hit in the pond. That's exactly how Self, MIKRA's first flagship product, works. So once you do take it, it creates a whole bunch of chain reactions at a cellular level that can have impacts on your brain, your cardio, as well as your skin and your digestive health. So we essentially wanted to create total body wellness just from the microscopic level.
Okay, so it's like starting, it's almost like hydration. Like you got to start with like the basic, right? And then go from there.
That's exactly it. It's essentially cellular nutrition. So we're really excited about that. And one of the things I always ask everyone is essentially, do you take a multivitamin? And if you do take a multivitamin, the majority of the time you're thinking that it's really benefiting your health and things like that. But quite honestly, if you don't have a mineral deficiency or anything of the sort, the multivitamin's kind of lost. Like you don't really absorb it at all, and quite honestly, how much innovation have you seen on the multivitamin, right? It's still just a capsule or a powder or anything like that. So we wanted to go one step further. So Self, our first iteration of our flagship product, it affects everything. So your brain, your nervous system, your muscle, your recovery. It works very, very quickly on some, and the benefits can cascade into better recovery from workouts, better sleep, better recall, spatial awareness, a whole host of things.
Talk to me about the wellness industry in general. Like, I feel like during the pandemic, we became super aware of, vitamin D and all these kind of things. I mean, is that what you're seeing from a consumer point of view?
I'm seeing a very stressed out and confused consumer.
Because of the pandemic or just life in general?
I think that, honestly, it's actually funny. Yeah, the pandemic was, I think it exacerbated a lot of issues. People were already stressed out, and now they're super stressed out about what's happening at a microscopic level. all the items with the vaccines and the RNA and so forth, everybody's kind of diving deeper at their health, but there's no real solution yet to actually impact your cellular health in the best way. If you walk into any store right now, you're going to be assaulted with a bunch of different supplements, and they're generally all pills, right? They're all just pseudo. They're all essentially the same. They all have roughly the same ingredients and things like that, but nobody's actually innovating on the delivery system. A lot of products right now have that liposomal type coating, which ensures that it passes through your gastric environment, which is also something that we employ with our products. But once it gets through your gastric environment, there are not a lot of products out there that have the right biological delivery system so that you are actually absorbing your health. So the pandemic has, I think, increased the total addressable market for supplements, but it's made it more crowded and more confusing. It's funny, we ran a customer survey 6 or 7 months ago, and we just asked individuals what they thought of the health and wellness industry, and a whole bunch of questions related to that. And the number one thing that stuck with me from that survey was people said that it was hard to be healthy. So we have all of these choices out there and all this opportunity, but everybody's still finding it very, very difficult to actually be healthy. So that's what we're looking to solve. If you just have to take this one product per day and it takes 10 seconds, and then you start to feel those benefits really, really quickly, it almost makes it super simple.
And where can somebody find the products?
So right now it's primarily sold at wearemikra.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming to explain this.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Want to get linked to a really good investment? Everyone knows you have to be at the right place at the right time. So here's the deal. Link2 is that place. And when you sign up, you'll join an awesome community of investors with access to the world's leading private companies way before they go mainstream. Are you ready to get linked to? Our unicorns are waiting. Link2. Private investing made simple.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
SEKUR is a Swiss-hosted private communications platform that offers email, also messaging, a chat by invite feature. None of it is data mined and sold to advertisers. And with me is the CEO, Alain Gahu, from Switzerland.
Yes.
So great to have you here in New York at the New York Stock Exchange. And I saw an article I wanted to ask you about, that cyber insurance. And somebody told me a few years ago this would be a good thing for businesses to get. But the premiums have gone up 91% for cyber insurance year over year. What do you think of that? Why such a big jump in premiums?
That's crazy. Well, cyber insurance, it's just like when you have a car insurance, let's say, and you have a lot of bad drivers. The collective essentially is going to raise the price of a car. If you're a great driver, or if you have like 5 airbags or something, a lot of time the insurance company lowers the price, right? Depending on the safety and security. Cyber insurance is the same way. We have had too many businesses compromise, obviously. This is a $6 trillion industry every year. It's causing damage to the globe. About a $300 billion industry in the US. And what's happening is that now people need to really understand that hacking is here. And these insurance companies, they can't pay out millions of dollars every time, right? So they have to hack it up. A great way to do is that if you're a business take small steps. At the very least, use a secure and private email. When you use communication, be careful. Don't use your free application, because essentially what you need to do is plug and seal everything in your business so that the hackers can come in. So the fact that they're going up 91% or something, at least because probably their cost is going up. And then also, it's something that some industries require. If you're in certain industry, you have to have cyber insurance. So, when a commodity is hot, like cyber insurance, why not raise the price?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it makes sense, because we did see a lot of breaches and hacks in 2021.
Yes.
And so
and more to come in 2022.
Right.
We have a ton coming in 2022. We got the health thing now. We've got all these new viruses coming. So there's going to be medical hack. We got midterm election. We forget about that for our viewers in the United States. There's elections coming up. We're going to be bombarded by fake news, by hacks, by spam. I mean, it's just nonstop. And as the world wakes up and restarts from the COVID catastrophe, activity will increase. Business activity, banking activity. Consumers are out there now. They want to travel. They want to spend some money. They use credit card. They email things. They back and forth. So all of that data is prime. It's like a buffet for these cybersecurity guys, right? So that's why, as a business, whether you're a small business or a large enterprise, I really highly recommend that you take steps to reduce the attack if you can. And definitely, you have to have that cyber insurance.
Yeah. Well, and if you have certain platforms, maybe like yours, that might reduce your premiums as well. Like if you're, have a car with airbags and things like that. So maybe that could help.
That's it. So our platform, which doesn't use the big tech cloud platform, so that's a plus. Because those guys are also heavily compromised because they have billions of people on it. There's good material for the hackers. So if you use Secure, for example, or Secure Mail. Secure Mail, if you email someone outside of your company, typically using the typical software that everybody uses, those emails are compromised. It's called BEC, Business Email Compromise. I think there was an article that the FBI said it's a $50 billion headache for them because businesses are compromised when they send and receive email back and forth. With Secure Mail, you have that secure send feature, so you can communicate with someone. They click on a link when they get the notice. You can password protect, you can self-destruct and so forth, and then that person can reply back. So if you're a banker and you want to send something to your customer, you can send them with Secure Send. If you're an accountant, or even if you're just a client and you're sending bank info to your accountant, you want to use Secure Send, because if you use a regular email with all your banking info, which everybody does, those hackers are going to get all that info. So that's one way. And B, you only accept people in your circle that you know, and they have to have a secure number and so forth. So there's a bigger vetting process, so to speak. And of course, it's all hosted in Switzerland, and everything stays within our multi-encryption system. But the big thing is you don't divulge your phone number. I think when people text and chat, that's the first time a hacker comes in. Some hackers come to businesses and they watch them for 6 months until they find out where is that server, where is that infrastructure. In Latin, they say to err is human. Well, we are humans, and we're going to make a mistake at some point, and machines cannot always protect us, so we need to use our common sense and, of course, defense like Secure Mail, etc.
Okay, and you're launching something new for businesses. Tell me about that.
Yes, so around September, probably after the holidays, we're going to do a huge marketing for all business services. That'll be the email, the messenger, and the Secure as a whole. We have those services today. We actually are getting a lot of requests. People are buying those email for businesses, but we're going to basically do a few more tutorial videos, tweak a few things, so that if you're a business and you're really looking to migrate to our platform, it will be seamless and easy to do. You won't have to spend tens of thousands to an IT company to do it for you. So we're just tweaking a few things over the summer. We're going to hopefully, obviously there's 30 million small business in the US. maybe we can target a couple million of them, the ones that are more prone to, you got lawyers, real estate, mortgage. If I may, with those rates rising like crazy, people are refinancing or selling
A lot
home.
of financial information
A lot of
being
financial
exchanged.
information is going to be exchanged, and those businesses are vulnerable. We do have an agreement with RE/MAX. We signed a partnership to launch our services. We're going to have more conversation with them. We want to really push the RE/MAX as well around September. So, it's September, October are the two biggest months for business sales, right?
Okay.
Because later you have Thanksgiving and it goes down. So we're preparing, we're in the trenches, we're building the foundation, tweaking thing. We're going to hook up mid-June our messenger to our brand new $1 million platform with servers that we just installed in Switzerland. So we're excited. We're being quiet now, but we're not going to be quiet around September.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll look forward to an update then, Alon. Thank you so
Jane.
much.
Thank you.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Want to get linked to a really good investment? Everyone knows you have to be at the right place at the right time. So here's the deal. Link2 is that place. And when you sign up, you'll join an awesome community of investors with access to the world's leading private companies way before they go mainstream. Are you ready to get linked to? Our unicorns are waiting. Link2. Private investing made simple.
LootUp is a blockchain-based payment app. And with me is the CEO and founder, Justin Wayo, to explain about LootUp. We'll talk about your other project, Legacy, too. But let's start with LootUp, because that's your fresh, kind of new project that you're doing, right? Explain how it works.
So LootUp is, as you said, a payment app. We recently merged it with an OTC market company called Quantum International Core. So basically what it is, it's a payment app built on Legacy Network. And so we have all the advantages of Legacy Network onto the payment app.
Okay,
Yeah.
so why would I use LootUp instead of, say, Venmo or PayPal?
So when you use Venmo, you're actually giving your money to Venmo, they're holding on to it, and then you transact within their ecosystem. And then when you're taking it back into your bank, you take it out. But while it's in their ecosystem, they have a custody, right, of your funds, and then they can freeze it, they can trap you out of your account. And
now, is that similar to what we're seeing with some of these crypto lending firms? Like, that they're taking people's deposits and using them for whatever,
right?
Because it's a non-custodial account.
Yeah, they're taking your funds like a bank would and reinvesting it into other things. And next thing you know, as you've seen in the market, they're insolvent and you can't get your funds and you didn't do anything, it's not your fault. But, and that's where we differ on our payment app. Yeah.
So tell me about the market. Has the crash in crypto, I think it's fair to call it a crash, has that affected LootUp's growth or your ability to gain interest in the business?
It's affected us, but in a positive way, I feel, because I feel like it's, draining the swamp of, of the crypto projects. There's so many scams. There's so many companies that are over leveraged. So, although we don't like seeing people lose money and we don't, wish any bad ill on any other projects, it's actually been good for us because we've been taking developers from other projects. We've been acquiring certain projects. So it's actually been it's actually been good for us. You know?
Interesting. This is the time you're building.
Exactly. It's been a very good time to build.
So there's a lot of the issue was the API, very high APIs in some or APYs in some cases, where people, you know, they were promising, oh, you get it X, you know, whatever, 30, 50, even 100% or whatever on your money, you know, which sounds enticing, but that was, how do you handle that whole APY situation?
So our opinion on it has always been, you know, it's unsustainable, you know, and during the bull run and the market's peak about a year ago, everybody was kind of looking at us on Legacy Network, and they were saying, you know, like, you guys should up your APY, you know, and all this stuff, and we're like, it's not sustainable, you know, it's, and now we're kind of seeing the fallout of all of that, you know, without mentioning names, you know, there's been a lot of crashes.
Yeah, no, we all know, they've watched the news. How does it tie into the Legacy Network than your other project?
So the way LootUp ties into Legacy is there's a blockchain and dApps, and you need a blockchain to build your dApp on. So I actually started LootUp years ago, and we just couldn't find a chain that we really liked, so we ended up developing Legacy Network.
Okay.
And that's kind of how they're, you know, both the same.
So LootUp is a dApp on the Legacy Network.
Exactly.
So you really, so you created the Legacy Network, and then you created LootUp to build on that.
Exactly.
Do you think you might do some other dApps?
We're developing a lot of dApps on Legacy Network, but on my end, LootUp's been my goal the entire time. So our other developers on Legacy Network will have their own separate dApps that they've been building Legacy for as well.
What are some key features of LootUp?
So some key features in LootUp that differ from crypto projects is normally a wallet on crypto is a little too hard for mom and pop to use. So the way we're making it different is instead of long addresses, we're sending to usernames. We're doing something called sponsored gas, which makes it so you can send the token you want without having to use the gas to send it. So we sponsor that gas, and you can use one token to send. There's other things like we're sending invoices with the transactions. You can confirm and cancel your payments, so there's no risk of accidentally sending it to the wrong person. And just, you know, a lot of little things like that.
Yeah, this one's very handy.
Yeah.
So a business or an individual could sign up for LootUp now?
We are launching hopefully within the next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do they do that? How would they sign up for that?
So all you need is for the basic account, you just need an email and a password.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Justin. I always learn something when you're in, so it's great to see you.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
The proceeding was a paid program. The opinions and views expressed do not reflect those of Bloomberg LP, its affiliates, or its employees.
You will put a woman on Mars. You will be the first chief crypto officer, because when you subscribe to Bloomberg, you won't just get news. You will get insight into limitless possibilities. Before you change the world, Bloomberg.
Did I tell you I bought our car from Carvana?
Yeah, Ma.
It was so easy. I found the perfect car. Under budget, too. And I get 7 days to love it or my money back. I love it.
We'll drive you happy at Carvana.
No one covers the world like Bloomberg.
This says it'll get to 7% in the coming months. Do you see that coming true?
Federal Reserve, of course, raising interest rates by 75 basis points again.
Where are the job cuts to come from? We will not just cut and run.
With unmatched reach and resources from more than 120 countries, the moment news breaks, 24 hours a day. Bloomberg, your global business authority.
Junior Achievement is where dreams take flight. We are helping students connect what they learn in school to future work and career success. However, we can't do it alone. Find out how you can help.
Big Tech reports earnings.
Another big day. Apple, Amazon crushing it.
Bloomberg brings you the headlines first.
Revenue growth falling for the first time.
Missed on every top and bottom line metric apart from one.
This really is a story of strength.
Plus, expert analysis to keep you informed.
We've been waiting for this.
The fact that they are not profitable is concerning.
Is this a company that indicates maybe a recession is coming?
We think it's going to be a major bounce back coming in next year.
Nobody covers tech earnings like Bloomberg, your global business authority. When the Fed makes its call.
The committee raises the target range for the federal funds rate.
75 basis point hike.
Bloomberg is there with live coverage.
We're moving expeditiously.
But where are you in the journey?
We're not sure.
And instant expert analysis.
The answer would be easy if the Fed wasn't so late.
If we start to see real softening, we'll have a different conversation at the Federal Reserve.
They're massively constrained by the real economy.
Nobody covers the Fed like Bloomberg, your global business authority. Earnings season is coming.
It's a low bar.
Price a reaction to this kind of geopolitical risk?
Yeah, I mean, markets have a tendency to price in worst-case scenarios, and I think that's part of what's going on here with the Taiwan dollar falling, the yuan falling, especially because, as far as markets are concerned, the key influences remain, which is that both China and the US are facing concerns about the economic outlook. So the yuan was already weakening. This has sort of helped to extend it. Then as far as the Taiwan dollar goes, it was tending to be a bit stronger recently because the US dollar has mostly weakened in relative to other currencies, given the expectation the Fed will slow down rates. So within those trends, you could expect a sort of return to those once this visit is out of the way, possibly similarly with any impact it's having on equities, although again, equities had surprised in a lot of places by outperforming last month amid all of the economic gloom. So to some extent, this kind of geopolitical risk is helping to give traders the chance to exit some positions that had maybe looked a little bit rich after the July rally.
And on top of this, we could be seeing some central bank risk as well. Swati, what are we expecting from the RBA?
The Reserve Bank is expected to increase interest rates by 50 basis points today. That is the expectation from both markets and economists. The markets were pricing in a chance of 75 basis points last week, but inflation came in slightly under expectations, and that's why pricing has pulled back, and now there's unanimous expectation for 50 basis points. So let's see if the Reserve Bank delivers that.
When it comes to Aussie swap rates, is it kind of the path of least resistance, Garfield?
Well, you mean Aussie swap rates have been trending down. Part of that is that the RBA is kind of stealthily catching up to the rest of the world. I was looking at it and thinking, well, the RBA raises 50 basis points. That means it's done 150 basis points in the space of 2-3 months' time. By the time this month, the Fed doesn't meet. So the Fed's gone 150 basis points since the start of June. So will the RBA have done. So it's kind of catching up. It's also starting to get a lot closer to where the end point is now seen, both for this year and in general for the Aussie rates curve. So there's implicitly an expectation that the pace of rate hikes will slow down. That does add plenty of potential excitement to today's RBA statement, because there is a chance that the RBA actually signals that now it's getting ahead of where some economists and some swap traders are starting to see, because it did have a very strong reading relative to history for CPI that came out late last month, even if the market looked at it and said, well, for the first time in a year, inflation didn't surprise to the upside. So the market has reacted a lot more calmly to inflation than the general Australian society has done, and quite possibly than the RBA will.
And the economy is starting to react as well, right? I mean, this chart on the Bloomberg showing how a big part of the economy in Australia, housing prices, are now starting to decline. Swati, what's the state of the Australian economy right now, and can it really take on these rate hikes?
I think the biggest impact that we have seen of these rate increases has been felt in the housing market. Prices actually started dropping off before rate tightening happened, but they have really accelerated since May, when the first interest rate increase happened. That is a worry, like how hard and how fast the housing market corrects from here. There are expectations of 15% fall, over next year, and if that comes to pass, it will be a difficult situation for millions of Australians who own a house or who have housing loans with mortgages. Their cost of living has gone up. Borrowing costs have gone up. Their loan repayments is going up still. So it is a question mark how they respond to further increases in interest rates. So far, it looks like they are able to withstand. Consumer spending has been reasonably strong. We have a very strong jobs market. Unemployment is at a near 50-year low. So there are more Australian in jobs. Wages growth is picking up as well. So, generally speaking, the economy is going well, but we have to see how it goes from here.
Bloomberg, Swati Pandey and Garfield Reynolds, they're joining us with some of those key risks for the markets today. Let's now get to Bonnie Quinn with the first word headlines. Bonnie.
Sherry, thank you. The top U.S. auditor watchdog says they can still demand to review a business's audit papers even if the company voluntarily leaves the NYSE or NASDAQ. China and Hong Kong are the only jurisdictions worldwide that don't allow Public Company Accounting Oversight Board inspections. Officials are trying to reach a deal before the deadline of 2024 for kicking off businesses that don't comply. The Biden administration says a counterterrorism operation has been carried out against a significant al-Qaeda target in Afghanistan. The officials said the operation took place over the weekend and didn't elaborate. According to the Associated Press, the strike killed top al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri. President Biden is expected to give an address about the operation at 7:30 Washington time. The latest Beige Book survey shows China's economy weakened in July over its response to fresh COVID outbreaks. Factory output and new orders slowed to the weakest level since mid-2020. Retailers are facing the brunt of tough COVID restrictions, with revenue growth falling for a fourth straight month. Beige Book warned that any optimism about a rebound is misplaced. Hong Kong's economy has contracted for a second straight quarter. The Asian financial hub is under pressure from COVID restrictions, rising interest rates,